Imagine you are stuck in a time loop during a really interesting day and you live this day over and over again. Does it also happen with this little nerd? Will he make the most of this day? Or is it just a curse for him? At the start of the film, we see Rob, who dreams of a pretty young girl riding him. Yes, it starts like this. A high school student suddenly wakes up when his mother enters the room. She is really embarrassed to see her half-naked son and simply asks him to put his sheets to wash. Quickly, Rob gets ready to go to class and talks to his father Jim about his interview to enter Georgetown University. Jim then gives his son his old headband from the years when he was part of the Georgetown sports team. He adds that he's certain his son will make him proud. On the way to high school, Rob timidly greets his classmate Lisa, but she completely ignores him and leaves with her friends. Then Stanley, Rob's friend, falls off the roof and goes with Rob as if nothing happened. When they both arrive on campus, there's a moment where they feel a little. They greet their other friends, Gabriel and his gifted neighbor Arthur. Then a professor, Mr. Hux, also comes to talk to them. Luckily, Rob gets soaked by a volleyball player, Tommy, who he targeted today. Then Gabriel reminds him to stay relaxed during his interview, because everything is going to be fine, and they both go back to class. A few moments later, Stanley brings Rob a rather ugly pair of trousers and advises him to distress, to relieve himself in the toilet thinking about Angela, who has just entered the library. Super advisor the buddy. Except that Angela comes to ask him if they can both organize a revision session at her place tonight. But Rob refuses, as he is supposed to see Gabriel that same night. Angela is sad, and of course Stanley steps in and tells her that Rob will reorganize his schedule and give her his answer a little later. Angela appreciates the gesture, and before leaving, she compliments Rob on his elegance. To this, Stanley convinces his friend to go see Angela instead and to drop Gabriel, but Rob refuses once again. Later in class, Rob is called into the principal's office, and he finds out that Stanley has doodled on his notes for the interview. We all have a friend like that, whom we love, but does not really pull us up. Anyway, during his interview, Rob apologizes to his interviewer, Jack Ross, for showing up in such an outfit. Luckily, the man doesn't care at all and doesn't see the drawings on his notes when he crumples his paper. Jack told Rob to answer his questions honestly, but suddenly cries as he thinks of his deceased wife. A few moments later, Rob tells Stanley that he messed up his interview, but the latter tells him that he can still go to Georgetown with some luck. He adds that even in the worst case, if he can't, he should just focus on Angela. Rob then decides to go see her and tells her that he agrees to help her revise. Then he goes to see Gabriel to consult their plan and tells him that he is not feeling well. To that, Rob feels bad for lying to Gabriel, but Stanley doesn't really care, and he adds that he should only think about his evening with Angela. We all know at that age, teenagers, they think with their asterisk beep asterisk. Admit it, guys. Unfortunately, on the way to Angela's, he gets run over by a car and the driver doesn't even stop, preferring to speed up. He still manages to get to her house and is slightly surprised to find a guy under the Porsche, cigarette in mouth. This guy, who looks unfriendly, is called Uzi, which already sets the tone. He directly asks him if he's there for the women, and Rob tells him that he's Angela's revision tutor. In an instant, Angela comes out and invites Rob to come into her room and sit on the bed. Of course, the revisions start with Angela touching his crotch. He jumps, spills his glass of wine on his t-shirt, and has to change. Well done, kiddo. She then admits to him that she asked Rob to help her with revisions only because she likes studying with him, of course. In the end, Angela kisses Rob, but when she puts her hand in his pants lady, it's already over. Rob wakes up the next day with a strange feeling. He's in his bed at the exact moment his mother walks into his room. Rob is a bit disturbed and feels a sense of déjà vu, but he starts getting ready to go to class. He is even more disturbed when his father talks to him about his interview later in the day. Yet again, his father gives him his old headband and Lisa ignores it for the second time. Rob observes the course of the day and notices that exactly the same events happen. However, this time
early with Angela, and he's frustrated like no other. This time, when he wakes up, he ignores his mother. Stanley and Gabriel do notice a change in him when he wakes up. say hello when arriving at the high school. Rob reveals to Stanley that he's already told him what happened with him several days ago now. He then starts doing whatever he wants, making sure all his friends see him grope the teacher. But because of this, he is of course summoned to Principal Hansen's office. The latter tells him that the police are coming to get him. However, before he can leave, a girl allies herself with him. He kicks him in the nuts. When Rob wakes up the next time still in his bed, he screams in rage so loudly that his mother thinks it was her he was talking to. He goes to high school once more in a disastrous mood. He directly cancels his plans with Gabrielle, ignores Mr. Hughes and Tommy when he crosses them. In the evening, he still goes to see Gabrielle at her place and really tells her what's happening to him. Naturally, she doesn't believe him and asks him to instead tell her his dream stories the next day. Then she suggests that he should ask Arthur for help and they go to his place. Suddenly, Arthur's grandmother attacks Rob shouting the word Jaduga. Following this, Gabrielle and Arthur's mother intervene and the mother pins him against the wall. A short time later, he wakes up again in his bed, this time. Upon arriving at the high school, he forces Arthur to help with his problem and follows him into the restroom. There, he dunks Arthur's head underwater to make him talk and asks him what Jaduga means. Arthur replies that he thinks this word means curse. Rob then talks to Gabrielle and Stanley. Stanley tells him that a curse means that the entire universe wants to force him to fix a cosmic mistake. Just that. That he then advises her to find out where this curse is coming from and to thwart it. So Rob realizes he probably needs to deal with his problem with Angela. A few moments later, Rob tells Angela, in front of all his classmates, that he will come to study with her in the evening. Naturally, Gabrielle is disappointed. He then asks Stanley to teach him how to please a woman before he goes to Angela's and does what he has to do, unfortunately. Fortunately, Rob quickly realizes that Angela just wanted him to do his homework for her, which makes him even more depressed. He then thinks he's not supposed to be here. Outside, he sees his father waiting and learns that he is already aware of his failure at the interview. Jim then takes his son to a hotel to meet Jack, who is depressed and asks only for whiskey. Jim briefly leaves to fetch the drinks, and when he comes back, Jack asks him why he wants Rob to go to Georgetown. Without hesitating for a second, Jim tells him that for him, it has been an experience that marked him for life. Following this, Rob stands up to get more drinks and sees a spelling bee on TV. He then realizes that he's in love with Gabrielle, perhaps because the candidate resembles him. When he comes back, he confesses to his father that he does not want to go to Georgetown at all. Jim doesn't really have a choice and supports his son. So they both are about to leave and Jack also accompanies them. All three of them go to Gabrielle's house so that Rob can follow his heart. A few minutes later, Jack and Jim help Rob to enter Gabrielle's room through the window. Rob explains everything to Gabrielle and tells her that he didn't sleep with Angela. She asks him to leave her house, but Rob, very determined, insists. Gabrielle gets frustrated and just wants Rob to finish his job quickly, and she takes off her t-shirt, so he leaves her alone as soon as possible. However, Gabrielle's father enters at the same moment and surprises them. Rob doesn't back down and confesses his love to Gabrielle even in front of his father, before escaping through the window. At this time, a moment, Gabrielle stops him and asks him to watch the spelling contest with her. They end up kissing each other, and Gabrielle confesses to him that she had always dreamed that they would be the first time for each other. A short time later, they make love together, but Rob, once again, leaves before departure. The next day, he is surprised to find that this time he is in Gabrielle's bed. Rob then understands that he broke the time loop and he is just where he should be. At the same time, Gabrielle tells her they should have done it much earlier. He quickly sets the table again and realizes they're made for each other. If you also found this story all cute, hit like and let us know in the comments. Don't forget to also subscribe and share with your friends and family. Click on one of the thumbnails on the screen to enjoy another summary. Have a good day and see you soon in another video.